All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack a movie that is honestly so much more than just a nostalgic weekend rewatch. We're talking about a late 80s romance that completely shatters its genre to become the definitive modern fairy tale. I mean, sure, on the surface, you've got the iconic outfits and the sweeping romance, but underneath all that, it's actually this incredibly sharp, fast-paced critique of classism, societal stigma, and corporate greed. So let's break down exactly how this film builds such a brilliant thematic narrative.
Right out of the gate in the first act, the film hits us with this absolutely brilliant, high-contrast clash. On one side, we've got Edward Lewis. He's wealthy, completely consumed by his work, and entirely emotionally detached. I mean, the guy is a corporate raider who literally dismantles failing companies for a living. And then on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, there's Vivian Ward. She's this free-spirited, yet seriously struggling prostitute just trying to survive on Hollywood Boulevard. It is a total collision of Edward's sterile, high-finance reality and Vivian's vibrant but incredibly harsh street life.
And notice how the film uses their chance encounter as this massive visual metaphor. Edward, who's fresh off a really tense breakup, impulsively takes his lawyer's high-performance Lotus Esprit out for a drive. But there's a catch, right? It's got a highly complicated manual transmission. He ends up completely lost, grinding the gears on Hollywood Boulevard, just totally out of his element. And this forces him to rely on Vivian to literally and figuratively take the wheel and guide him back to the safety and luxury of the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel.
Which brings us to part one, the 6-day contract, where business meets the boulevard. So, here's our inciting incident. Edward realizes he needs a sophisticated companion for his LA business trip, and he approaches it the only way he knows how, as a cold, hard corporate transaction. He offers Vivian exactly $3,000 to be his exclusive escort for 6 days. Visually, that number just anchors the deeply transactional nature of their early dynamic. This isn't a courtship, guys. It is quite literally a weekly contract. He's viewing her time and presence as just another asset to acquire.
And the film brilliantly sets up this ticking clock. We watch a simple 6-day business arrangement just rapidly accelerate into some incredibly complex emotional territory. We're going from a cold handshake on day 1 to a devastating betrayal straight into the ultimate choice by day 6. The narrative uses this tight, fast-paced time frame to expertly force their mutual transformation.
Moving on to part 2, classism and transformation, the reality of Rodeo Drive. As Vivian tries to hold up her end of this bargain, she slams directly into a brick wall of class prejudice. You know the scene. Those snobbish boutique saleswomen on upscale Rodeo Drive take one look at her provocative street clothes, instantly judge her, and flat out refuse to serve her. But then, enter the hotel manager, Barney Thompson, who steps in as the ultimate modern fairy godmother. Instead of judging her, he sees her vulnerability, teaches her high society etiquette, and secures her a stunning, elegant dress. He's giving her the exact tools she needs to navigate this really hostile, elitist environment.
But just as she's finding her footing, boom, we hit a massive structural turning point. At a polo match, Edward's sleazy attorney, Stuckey, starts getting suspicious, and to protect his own business interests, Edward actually breaks Vivian's trust. He reveals the truth about how they met, which Stuckey immediately uses to degrade her. This betrayal completely shatters the safety of their little contract. It forces Edward to finally wake up to the true damage of his transactional mindset and realize just how profoundly important her dignity really is.
So to make amends, Edward pulls out all the stops. He takes her on a private jet to San Francisco to see the tragic opera La Traviata. Now, the opera itself is about a courtesan falling in love with a wealthy man. And as Vivian watches art directly mirror her own life on that stage, she's moved to tears. The film captures this exact profound moment where their paid transaction officially blossoms into genuine, undeniable love.
Armed with this newfound confidence, Edward's emotional backing, and a completely restored sense of self-worth, Vivian marches right back into that same snobbish Rodeo Drive boutique. Draped in expensive shopping bags, she delivers the iconic line, "Big mistake. Huge." I mean, it is easily one of cinema's most satisfying moments, right? But thematically, it's a fierce reclamation of power and agency. It's the film's sharp critique of how society judges people based entirely on their clothes and economic background.
Which leads us to part 3, corporate versus human values, a crisis of conscience.
Here's where we really see how Vivian's transformation acts as the catalyst for Edward's evolution. That hostile takeover deal that brought him to LA in the first place, it reaches its boiling point. But Edward has changed. Influenced entirely by Vivian's profound empathy, he has a massive crisis of conscience. He abandons his cold corporate greed. liquidating James Morse's shipping company for a quick profit, and instead chooses human connection. He decides to work with Morse and save the family legacy. Vivian didn't just change her wardrobe, she fundamentally altered his entire worldview.
But the clock runs out. The 6-day contract ends. Edward, who's still leaning slightly on his wealth as a crutch, offers her a comfortable setup. He wants her to be a kept woman with financial support so she can leave the streets. But Vivian makes the ultimate stand. She flat out refuses the transaction. She tells him she's going to pack her things, move to San Francisco, and earn her high school diploma. She demands the real fairy tale, a relationship built on absolute equality.
And that brings us to part 4, Rescuing the Prince, a fairy tale ending.
This is where the film completely, brilliantly subverts the classic knight in shining armor trope. Edward finally realizes that his immense wealth means absolutely nothing without her. So we get this incredible visual of the modern prince conquering his severe fear of heights and literally scaling a rusted fire escape to reach his princess. The juxtaposition of that pristine white limousine parked next to a rundown apartment building on Hollywood Boulevard, it sets up the perfect romantic climax. As he reaches the top of the fire escape, totally exhausted but determined, he asks her this ultimate tension-building question. He asks, what happens after the prince climbs up the tower to rescue the princess? It is the absolute final moment of vulnerability for a man who has spent his life hiding behind millions of dollars.
And she smiles and delivers that legendary line, she rescues him right back. It's perfect. It cements the film as an absolute masterclass in mutual redemption, where they literally saved each other from their respective empty lives. So I have to ask you, what other classic, beloved rom-coms are hiding this level of thematic brilliance just beneath the surface? Keep that in mind and let it change the way you watch your favorites.